Have you checked the children?
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Sometimes that is better.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Horror Show. I'm Cecil Laird.
And I'm in Fuego here.
And we are here to finish up our reviews of the Prom Night series by talking about Prom Night 4, Deliver Us from Evil, and the little-known entry into the series, The Club, which, so it was released in 1994 under the title The Club, but the reason that we're covering it for this channel is because I saw box art where it was released in another country under Prom Night 5, The Club. So that is enough for me. If that exists, and that means somewhere it was intended to be a part of it. And when you look at the wiki, it says Prom Night 5, The Club is
listed,
there, even though you can't find anything when you actually click on it, but it is
it's one
listed.
of those little red links where there's nothing that's been set up for it.
But that's what we're going to be talking about today. So let's start off talking about Prom Night 4, Deliver Us from Evil. This one is about a deranged priest.
Yep.
So it basically starts off with this priest killing a couple of kids after the same, it looks like, 1957 prom from Prom Night 2 and 3.
But yeah, like using
no message
crucifixes
of
to kill them and stuff.
Yeah,
messed
like a
up.
sharpened crucifix, like or a giant sharpened cross, I
Yeah.
should say, because the crucifix has Jesus on it and his weapon does not. But that is the weapon he uses. He gets caught by his fellow priests and stuff like that, and then instead
they
of
cover it up.
yeah, they cover it up and put him into a place where they can monitor him rather than turning him into the authorities.
Yeah, he's like locked away in almost like a basement kind of area, and he's all drugged up and imprisoned.
And then we meet this new priest that is intending to go off and have a big career as a priest, you know, maybe get to the Vatican one day and all this stuff. But it turns out that is not in the cards. His direct superior says, no, you're not going there. Instead, we have a sacred duty for you, where they basically bring him in to watch this priest that has been locked up and supposedly catatonic for all these years.
Yeah.
Of course, the priest wakes up and then starts to wreak havoc on 4 teens that were on the way to prom, but then decide to go off to a place themselves,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah,
it's
it's
not
like
even
their
really
father's
like prom. It's prom night, but it's not at the prom, this movie.
Yeah, and that's where the tone of this one, after the campiness of 3 and even to a degree the second film, I felt that this one took itself far more seriously, you know, especially with the tone and like some of the kills and stuff like that. But yeah, they end up at one of the boys' father's vacation property or something. That's where they go, but didn't it used to be like a lair for the priest guy or something? And so that's why he goes back to this
No, I
particular
can't remember.
property?
No, to me, he just happened to break out of wherever nearby. And so this is just kind of the first thing he happened across.
Yeah, these unsuspecting kids. And
Which
they
just happened to be
get
people
terrorized.
celebrating on prom night.
Yeah,
Which is what he would have gone for anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe there's more to it than I'm remembering, but that's all I remember.
It's been a couple weeks since we watched this one, to be fair, you know. But I mean, I will say that it did have, like, it took itself more seriously, as I mentioned. I felt like the kills were far more gruesome when we actually got them and stuff. And I mean, just any sort of deranged, just like religious kind of craziness, it always strikes a chord with me. Even if I don't love the subject matter always, I'm glad I was raised Baptist and not Catholic, because that's a completely different bag of rocks, man. So
yeah, and the characters, there's 2 girls and 2 guys, you know, 2 couples that are all friends. 2 of them go to like a religious school, right? And they rebel against the religious tenets handed down and stuff like that. And then the other 2 are not, but they're all friends together, and so they're all celebrating their prom, and then they all start to get picked off by this priest. The problem is these characters are not that interesting.
Yeah, even the 2 that you're supposed to be rooting for, which is the sweeter couple.
The innocent ones.
Yeah, exactly, because the other girl, like, she's like straight up
promiscuous.
Yeah, floozy status, man. You know, this is obviously going to be another one. Now that I kind of turned the gears in my head thinking about it, the only whodunit of this series is the first film, whereas you know, this one, it's very cut and dry and very obvious who our murderous person is. And so yeah, I thought that his performance was effective, and he was you know, just accordingly scary to a degree. He was more interesting than the kids, though, to be fair. You know, his whole angle and why he started becoming murderous. So.
Yeah. Overall, since I don't think we said our overall thoughts, I thought that this was just okay. I mean, it's a serviceable slasher movie. It's nothing that breaks any new ground. It's nothing that is particularly memorable. It's just what it was, you know, which wasn't terrible, but It had nothing to do with prom. It just happened to happen on prom night, which I guess, it's called prom night, so you can get away with it. But
ditching prom, and the kills in 57 at the beginning being on prom night with that couple who was trying to get out. But I don't know. This one was like would I say it was an improvement over 3? Maybe to a degree if you're like a slasher fan and didn't like the goofiness
as
of
far
it.
as sticking to tone, yes.
Yeah.
Because 3 was so all over the place. But I think I was more entertained by 3.
I think so too, just based on its sheer lunacy.
Yeah.
So this one was much more typical slasher sort of situation.
But as you said, there was more gore. I mean, they showed that cross plunging into people numerous times.
Yeah,
so
weapon of choice.
So yeah, I mean, they at least didn't shy away from that. So ultimately, Prom Night 4, it's nothing to write home about. I don't think you're missing anything by not watching it, but if you're a completionist and you're starting this series, you might as well give it a go.
And it's another one that's free on either Tubi or Pluto or one of those services where you just have to contend with ads, and that's about it.
So let's move on to the other one, which again, it was released under the name The Club, but it's supposedly technically Prom Night 5, The Club. And this one does start off taking place on prom night with a whole crowd of people in this luxury swank hotel setup.
Yeah, in some ways, I felt like it's almost like a castle practically where
that's
they
what it
have
felt
this
like.
at. Yeah, I mean, in the 2008 remake, yes, you've got this big, beautiful hotel, but as far as the set location of this 5th film, it was a beauty to behold. I'll definitely give it that,
I guarantee someone found this location. They're like, oh, we could do a whole movie with this entire one place.
Yeah.
Because there's different rooms.
It's ginormous.
But that's the weird thing. It's some kind of setup where one of the rooms is just all torture devices that have been put into storage.
That's why I made the castle connotation.
It's like, what is that,
Yeah, it's suits of armor and stuff like that.
But yeah, so we start off, we meet a few kids at this big prom going on, and there's a couple of core people we're following.
I was more taken aback by the creepiness of the teacher. He's just like
who we've actually seen
and,
before in numerous movies.
And he's trying to get the kids to drink when they're in there, and he walked up to a kid at the urinal and was just like kind of
and then at one point he admits to R-wording and killing girls before and stuff. Young girls too. So yeah, there's that going on in the background. And then there's also this mystery student who is at the prom but no one seems to know, and he's just kind of blending in.
And he also looks like another character too. Like there's two guys that I was getting confused until it became very obvious who this mystery student was.
Well, one of them is extremely over the top with his acting and stuff, which I actually kind of enjoyed. So
I thought that was amusing too. Without spoiling who it is, like he's going somewhere between like Nicholson and Christian Slater with his just cagey craziness, man.
But just briefly with my overall thoughts on this one, I kind of enjoyed this one. I mean, I didn't enjoy it to the point where it's like going to be a regular rewatch, but amongst the rest of the prom night movies, this one's not bad. I mean, it's not as bad as some of them have been, that's for sure.
Yeah, it had some character and some flavor all its own, especially as you start to realize the nature of this mysterious person and what's really going on. And plus, I like getting caught in these, not spoiling, like almost like alternate dimension-y sort of situation, which is what they do with this. That's not my inner King fan, but I didn't really dislike any of these characters. I mean, a bunch of young Canadian actors that were in this. The long-haired kid, I found it with his silly hat and stuff, like pretty amusing. And there's some cool setups like with the guillotine and like various other bits. I mean, there was interesting mythology to this film despite not really having any sort of connection with any of the previous films. So I mean, really, the only two that connect significantly are 2 and 3. Everything else is pretty much its own standalone sort of situation.
This select group of kids are like separated from the rest of the prom, and then when they go back, everyone else has disappeared, which is where we start to key in what Fuego said, where sort of alternate dimensions at work and things like that after a fashion. Well, maybe not alternate, but certain dimensions. Then there's this creepy student that no one knows that starts to have all these over-the-top deliveries about, what they should be doing, and he's playing along with them and trying to help, but then it is revealed that he is kind of a part of what's going on and what's happening to them, and it basically turns out that he's a demon that's messing with them along with other things that are in this realm with them.
Yeah, he's almost like graduated into demon-dom, if that even makes any sort of sense, because of the fact that they're like, there's two things that will put you in this sort of service. It's either murdering somebody or committing suicide, and that's how you get trapped in having to be this sort of tormentor, the club. Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, and so there's some creative kills. There's some stuff where people get separated and then they think they're with someone they're not actually with, and they get attacked by that person. That happens a couple times, so it's not
lots of people being dragged through the air.
yeah, there's
did
not
that.
as much variation in the death and stuff as I was hoping there would be, but it is still good, it is still engaging, and that creepy teacher still lurking around in the background definitely throws a wrench into the system. But
which is what's interesting, because he is like the clear-cut bad guy, and then this other character, the demondom that we kind of referred to a little bit, he's kind of like a wild card, like a Loki almost sort of situation, man. You know, so I was the most entertained by him compared to everybody else. He kind of stole the movie, in my opinion.
Yeah,
as he was supposed to.
I agree. He might annoy some people, but he was fun for me to watch.
Oh yeah, he cracked me up, man.
So yeah, I mean, this one, gore-wise, there was some to be had. There was some nudity to be had as well, if you guys like that kind of thing. But ultimately, it's just a little bit more successful than some of the other ones in the series, and we're gonna do a separate tier list ranking recording after this, so you'll know how we place them all very soon. But
yeah, I think I like this better than 4 for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure, me too. So we're gonna get into all that in the next thing that we're gonna be recording. So that's gonna do it for our thoughts on Prom Night 4 and The Club, aka Prom Night 5, The Club. Let us know what your thoughts are on these in the comments down below if you've seen them. If not, do you have any inclination to see them? I'd like to know what y'all's opinion on that is. So
yeah, so this 5th one, if you just search The Club on Amazon Prime, that's where you can find it and stream it. So.
Exactly. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to all of our patrons for supporting the channel the way that you do. We greatly appreciate it. Couldn't do it without you. If you enjoyed the video, you guys, click the like button and subscribe. Make sure you ding that notification bell to make sure you don't miss that tier list ranking when it happens. But until next time, I've been Cecil Laird.
And Fuego.
And remember, stay scared.